So forget the past. What are you going to do to make sure we don't have problems going forward?
If you have
RNC?
mail-in voting, you automatically have fraud. If you have
Okay, well, there's mail-in voting in Florida,
That's
and you
right.
won huge.
That's right. If you have it, you're going to have fraud.
But
This is the mass mail-out ballots. Yeah.
The ballots are a disaster. Anytime you have mail-in ballots, anytime you have mail-out or mail-in, they call them different names. Anytime the mail is involved, you're going to have cheating.
It's fraudulent. We will stop the practice of universal unsolicited mail-in balloting. We will clean up the rules that ensure that every single person who casts a vote is a citizen of our country, a resident of the state in which they vote, and their vote is cast in a lawful and honest manner. We will restore the vital civic tradition of in-person voting on Election Day so that voters can be fully informed when they make their choice. You know, France did it because they couldn't do mail-in ballots because they turned out to be totally corrupt. Mail-in voting is totally corrupt. Get that through your head. It has to be. The votes, I mean, it has to be. You have to go out and ideally vote on November 8th. You know, the mail-in ballots, or sometimes I will say things like the fake mail-in ballots, but I don't want to say that because that's so controversial. But the mail-in ballots are just not as good as being out there on November 8th. You know that, Carrie. Get out and vote on November 8th. It's harder for them to cheat. They cheat. You know, we want paper ballots. We want same-day voting. That's what we want. And we don't want mail-in voting. And we want one-day voting. We don't like mail-in ballots. What you do is you go out and vote on Election Day. It's better. And a lot of people fight me, sir, supposing there's a hurricane, supposing there's bad weather. Well, you're just much better off. It's harder to cheat when you do it that way, and they cheat like dogs. So try and, look, it's better than not voting, but you don't want to send it in that way. When are people going to get smart? Get rid of this mail-in voting. It's killing our country. There should be a legitimate reason for someone to vote absentee. Has to have a reason. We should eliminate the insanity of mass and very corrupt mail-in voting. Anytime you have mail-in ballots, you're going to have massive cheating on your elections. Anytime, but not just the presidential election. Anytime you have...
Isn't that the whole point of them?
Yeah.
So you can cheat?
Oh, yeah, sure. It's the whole point. That's their whole point. They want to cheat, yeah. It's a disaster. And we have to get in and we have to clean it up. And we want to go paper ballots. We want to go voter ID, same-day election. No more mail-in ballots. We don't want mail-in ballots. You see it happening all the time. And by the way, you see what's happening also with the masks. They want the masks to start because they want it for the election, JD. They want the masks on, and they want those mail-in ballots where they can cheat like hell. They're trying to figure it out. We want to have elections, by the way, all paper elections. We want voter ID, and we want no mail-in ballots. No mail-in ballots.
Yeah, here we go again. Here we go again. Back to mail-in ballots, the fake mail-in ballots, all the things that took place. What a disgrace. What this country has lived through and what's happened to this country in a year and a half is hard to believe.
We lost by a whisker, just a whisker. You know, with their mail-in ballot hoaxes. You better go quickly to paper ballots, voter ID, and one-day voting, or you're not going to have anything. Anytime you have mail-in ballots, you're going to have a...
Listen,
okay. And by the way, yesterday Rasmussen came out with a poll. Did you see it? It said that on mail-in voting, 20% of the ballots were rigged and broken and disgusting. 20%. That's about millions more than we would have needed. And it's a disgrace what's taking place between open borders and a broken election system. It's a horrible thing that's going on. We should go same-day voting, paper ballots, voter ID, and no mail-in ballots. They had mail-in ballots a long time ago, and they turned out to be so corrupt. Anytime you have mail-in ballots, you have corrupt elections. I don't care what it is. It's anybody that wants it, they're corrupt. And that includes Republicans, by the way. Anytime you have mail-in ballots, you are going to have really corrupt elections.